Take one.
You're watching the QUESTionaire podcast.
What can they say?
You are checking out the QUESTionaire.
What's your name again?
The QUESTionaire.
Would you like to have questions?
I don't got it. I'm not that guy.
Submit yourself.
Super fun and entertaining.
This is the QUESTionaire.
There's a secret every magician, from the basic cardigan to the most exceptional illusionist, understands. Yeah? That is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the QUESTionaire. I am the unknown factor, AKA Jay Clark, and we just had Jay Clark on, and it was really weird, man. Like Jay Clark interviewing Jay Clark, and there's just a bunch of Jay Clarks. It was Jay Clark on Jay Clark, and wait a minute, I didn't mean it like that, man. We ain't getting into that, right? Because everybody's going up, and that's what we're doing, right? We're focusing on power, yeah, with the man, the editor, and man, one heck of a writer in Larry Stahl. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, you're just our co-host. You're just our co-host today, though, right?
Oh yeah,
that's all you're doing, right? He's just co-hosting, right? So we got to figure out who we got on the show today, Larry, right? Because you came on, you've co-hosted with Mark Bagley. We just had Jay Clark on. Nobody co-hosted with Jay Clark. Apparently, they didn't want to get in the middle of two Jays. I understand. Nor would I, and I am a Jay Clark. It's fine, right? We got Ahmed Rafat coming up with Chrissy Wiseman. We've got so many great things coming up. Season 3 has been phenomenal. Even the haunted episode that I've come to the conclusion had an Argentinian demon or something within it, right? It did. And Larry, I don't know why, but I'm just going to blame you for that, which really doesn't seem fair. But you know what? That's life. If anything, I've learned that, right? So let's talk to another heck of a writer right now. One who almost accomplished something that's only happened 3 times in my life. Yeah? In Larry Stahl. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't know where the co-host just went, but here I am.
Well,
and we're gonna do this without him. Who needs Larry Stahl when you got Larry Stahl? Let's be real here.
I don't know, man. I mean? Look, I'm gonna be real with you, Larry, right now. And unfortunately, there was an episode. Sometimes episodes get lost, y'all. I'm not gonna lie over the QUESTionaire, and I think that happens in all forms of entertainment. Sometimes the reel gets smoked. Sometimes something happens to the digital file. Reshoots have to be done. Blah blah blah. XYZ. Whatever. And with Ahmed, unfortunately, that happened. And you were spoken of, as well as a great number of other individuals, just creators, everybody, Kevin Smith, and this and that. But you were spoken of specifically, Larry, in the fact that you have become the video editor over here at the QUESTionaire. And, yeah, man, you were needed. All right? We didn't need Larry Stahl. We needed Larry Stahl. All right? That's the only reason there is a season 3. Right? And I ain't gonna lie. When Vlad initially hit me up and was like, hey, man, there's this guy in Indiana, blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, it's really weird for a Serbian to be introducing me to a Hoosier, but okay. I guess that's what happens. Right. Life's a quest, and the world has become smaller and smaller and smaller with the internet. To a really strange capacity to me. And in the conversation we were having, like I've done to I don't know how many people, I was like, oh, hey, you want a video edit too? Just no idea that you had past experience video editing. You know what I mean? I just said it because I just say things. And there's a cat. Kitty. Sorry, man, I'm always distracted by the kitty. You know what I mean?
That's Biggs.
You would know that from that PanCon exclusive episode where it's me, you, and Vladimir. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Gotta get on the Patreon for that one.
Yes.
Gotta get on there for that one, man.
Yes, you do. Because there are so many things that were said that I'm gonna try not to get into because I don't want to get Larry into trouble. Because sometimes I go off. Sometimes I go off the bloody rails. Really.
Gotta say that one was for the boys. That's what that one was for the boys.
I mean, I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. It was a very interesting experience to say the least. And let's hope 3/4 of that never happens again.
3/4. Wait,
At
why
least-
3?
At least not on. I'm sorry. Do we not do fractions here on the questionnaire?
But no, I just want a specific why. Like what? 75% of it, and all like what? Like 75%? I don't know about 75%, man. Maybe like
Okay,
there's,
we'll
like
make it like a 73%. I can't think of the fraction for that one off the top of my
I
head.
mean, I was gonna say like 50-50. There's about 50% where it's like, or it's like there was probably 50% of that went too far off the rail.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right. Yeah, I suppose if we were to go back and try to check all that out again,
You're gonna edit it so it can go up on the Patreon.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to go through. You know what? Maybe if I have that edited before this episode is edited, I will retroactively throw in a video of myself and tell everybody exactly what that percentage is. But until I sift through that footage, I don't think I'm gonna stick with my 75% until I can watch over that footage again and see what's usable. That's what I'm gonna do.
Man, it wasn't that bad, Larry. Now there might be like one or two things, even with it being a Patreon exclusive. I don't know. I think you might need to even cut out with it being a Patreon exclusive. Not to say that I don't have a whole conversation with Locke, where I still am sitting on it, and it's a bit from after a particular quest. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I should release this at all ever. Now, mind you, it was a very personal discussion between myself and Locke.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just like, and I love Locke. Man, you make me want to go grab, hey, look, Larry, I'm going to cause you an edit right now, right? So like I was saying, Locke, man, I've had him on, we had a real personal conversation, but I got a lot of love for Locke, right? Because he came on recently on that very haunted Halloween special. It was excessively haunted. Larry can attest to this, right? But from that Halloween special came this.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Go.
That is, and literally my son told me today, he's like, every day I get home, I have to check and make sure this is okay. And I was like, that's so cool. Because like this concept of SpongeBob as Captain America came from a conversation that me and my boy were having, and I ended up conning Locke into making it. So if you want something dope, original sketch card, something like this, Mad Monkey Love, you can find him everywhere. MadMonkeyLove.com, all of that. And he'll be more than happy. I guarantee you give him a little something, he'll whip you up a little something, right? So yeah, so sometimes things happen where I'm like, we shouldn't put that out. And sometimes it's not even my fault or the fault of one of the co-hosts. Sometimes like one of the guests says something and they're like, hey, that's not announced yet. So I'm not supposed to say it. But with this particular quest, we're timing it with an announcement. So I can get into the fact that in less than an hour, we sent out an email with a pitch for Midwest Man of Power.
Yes, I did.
To Arctic Press. And shout out to Arctic Press, man. I can think of a lot of artists and a lot of people we've had on here that work with Arctic Press and have worked with Arctic Press. It's a great company. Check it out. They do a lot for the comic book community as far as helping new creators get started. And I think that's very important to create a thriving comic book community. In less than an hour, they got back to you like, hey, we're going to run that in Exciting Stories, right?
Exciting Comics.
Exciting Comics.
They're anthology. Yep. Exciting Comics. It's their anthology series that they do. Where I know that they've had some ongoing stories in there before from new comic creators and whatnot, but essentially, it is 2 single full issues of a story for the price of 1 for whatever comic creator makes their way through there.
Yeah, and I know Hugh Rookwood was a great creator. You can check him out on the past couple. He's been on a couple Pans sketching this and that. Has had a bit of works in there too, man. And I remember when you hit me up about that, and that's just crazy, man. Because I've been doing this show for a while now, and we deal with everything over here from creators that are really established within the comic book community that are really established, like Tom Brevoort, Mark Bagley, Phil Hessler, Ross Ritchie. I could sit here and list 1,000 names of people that we've had on that are like, these are established creators within the comic book community, is what they do, and it's what they've been doing for a long time very successfully, to people who are just starting out, like you. And I have never heard someone getting a response back that bloody quickly, Larry.
I honestly, it was kind of crazy to me. Maybe I just caught the editor of the book and founder of Antarctic Press, Ben Dunn, on a good day. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe he just really dug the story that we pitched over to him and whatnot. So I don't know. It's real exciting, exciting, real fast paced,
See,
I don't know.
You should have said, look,
we're in.
You messed that up because you said it's real exciting, and you should have went, it's a real fast-paced comic. Come on, man, it was right there.
Well, sorry, not that quick on the draw. I'm a writer, not an improviser.
I do a little bit of both.
Yes, you do, sir. I've edited enough of these to know that is exactly what you do.
What are you trying to say?
I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just
All right.
saying.
All right. Just checking.
There's a real thin line there where I'm operating. You like that?
Suspicious, man. That sounded suspicious as all get. Don't make me get real slanderous and make this hard for you to edit. See, now I'm going to start dropping. Yeah, don't, dude. I'll do it. Look. I mean, where he's like, I got to add 60,000 beeps into this thing. I'm gonna kill Factor. I swear on my life. Why did I agree to edit this show? If this wasn't my episode, I would throw it. But I think impromptu is a good thing. But I think you don't realize how much as a writer that you are doing impromptu, because technically, like, that's all writing is. Now, it is impromptu that you have the capacity to go back to and edit. It's not like, because like when I'm on the show live and I'm spewing out whatever I'm spewing out off the top of my head, which is 99% of what I do over here in the questionnaire. Like, it is just like, let's go. And sometimes I don't do the research I should be. Hey, being a single parent, it's a lifestyle, right? Can you live it? I'd like to think I do all right. I mean, this show's still running. Honestly, that's only really due to Larry in part, though, because if I still had a video edit, it really wouldn't be. Thanks, Larry. I really want to throw that out there, man. But I want to know Midwest Man of Power, because there's two books I really want to get into, and I want to know more than anything, specifically with Midwest Man. We're going to start there, and then we're going to get to the other book. With Midwest Man of Power, what perspective do you feel you most feel in that story? Like, what part of your life really made that story come out?
All right. So this is, I will say, and I am very early in my career. I actually was joking with a co-host and acclaimed comic colorist, Vladimir. I was talking with him about it, and I was like, this is probably the most personal thing that I've written in my career so far. And he, him being as snarky as he is, he got back with me and he was like, they're all personal. That's why you write them. And while that is the case, there is a lot of my life is injected into Midwest Man of Power, and in a very... All right, let me put it like this. Kind of give you like the origin story of where this started. So I grew up in like the northwest corner of Ohio, like the Paulding County, Van Wert County area, mostly Paulding County. And Paulding County, it's all farmers, it's all cornfields. If it tells you anything, Paulding County doesn't even have a Walmart. It is like Dollar Generals are where people regularly grocery shop. It is all like a very small town community, but the towns are very small and few and far between and mostly separated by cornfields. And I originally came up with this idea where I was like, what if a superhero existed in this? Now, mind you, like Superman, like the 1960s Superboy series, like he lives in a farm town and whatnot, but they always like cook up like these ridiculous concepts for him to deal with. Like when he's in these small town settings. So it's like he has to stop a tornado and like save like an animal farm from being destroyed, or all the supervillains just so happen to find themselves in Smallville to fist fight him. But like if you really look at it like in like a modern comic book sensibility, like what if a superhero existed in that area? What would they even do? And at first the idea was a parody. At first it really was. It was going to be like like you got like these really old like crabby neighbors that are like, there's kids outside skateboarding. Now imagine if that kind of adult had to deal with a superhero.
No. You're from the Midwest. Let's be real honest. If there was a superhero here, they would deal with meth heads.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting to here. Because at first it was going to be a parody. And I was like thinking of all these, like it was essentially, I was just concepting the idea. So at first I kind of think of them as like comic strips, like funny little moments of like, what if a superhero existed in this like small town environment? And then I was really trying to like find where, because with everything that I write, I try to find an emotional through line. What is the emotional through line of this story that gives this story a reason to exist and makes it worthy of being told? And so I was like, well, if I was the superhero character, like what if it's like how do I want to put it? There are other superheroes that exist, but like in these comic book worlds where you mostly have superheroes, they always exist like Central City, New York, Gotham City, Metropolis. They all exist there. And like growing up as a kid, reading comic books nonstop, it's like I have never seen this area represented in like a modern sensibility comic book storytelling like setting.
No, wait.
It was like,
where's Local Man today?
I honestly haven't read Local Man.
Did you read Image? Never mind. You're too young for that reference to make, because I was about to be like, did you read Image back in the day? And then I'm like, oh, you were like 10. Never mind.
Well, the thing of it is, I feel like when you're a kid, like unless it's like the 90s and it's like Spawn was like your first love of comics or something. Like me as a kid with the MCU and the DC movies and everything like that existing, I feel like as a child, for me personally, big two comics are what get you in. So it was kind of like, like I'm like as an adult, I've been getting into more Image titles and getting into all of that. So I'm still learning and finding the writers I like from the big two, and then narrowing it down to like read, okay, what are the writers I really like? What are their indie titles? And Local Man from that's Tim Seeley and Tony Fleecs, right?
Yes. Look, you can check them out on Past Quests too. Tony's been on I don't know how many times. I love all of Tony's work. I love all of Tim's stuff. Those are two creators that I really think are underrated within the comic book community personally.
Right. And like those guys, they even came through Fort Wayne, and I missed an opportunity to meet them when they were doing their signings for like their little signing tour. They stopped at the arcade.
Where that was for Farrell. That Tony was doing.
Yeah, it was for Farrell. Yeah.
But Tim wasn't with him then. That's all. Okay.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Dude, Tony does a lot. Well, I mean, so does Tim. You know what I mean? And yeah, when Tony did that whole tour, because it was him and Tony Rodriguez, and I swear there was something.
I think now that you say Tony Rodriguez, that makes sense to me. Like I think I remember seeing his name. Yeah, it was those two for sure. At least were at my store, but yeah.
It reminds me, I need to send a message to somebody and make a date since all this is running smoothly now that I got a phenomenal video editor in the house who really
Oh,
no, man, look, and I'll be real honest though. Like, I don't think it was until I read your pitch for Midwest Man of Power, and I guess I read the pitch real quick, and my life is crazy for anyone out there, you know, like, but I'm crazy too, so it fits. Whatever. I'd only ever read the pitch. I don't know if I realized that there was the comic below it. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how I missed it when you sent it to me. I just read the pitch and was like, "Oh, that's interesting," and then closed it. And I about did that same thing today, and then I scrolled up, and I was like, "Oh, the comic's here." All right, and I read it. So I think honestly, today is the first time I've read your work. You know what?
I've been working for you for a month, man. No, that's fine. That's okay.
Say, but in all fairness, Larry, look at when you initially started, and now you can see the calendar too, right?
Right.
Did you see what happened to the calendar in the past month?
Yeah, no, it filled up quick, dude.
Yeah, because I knew I could handle everything that I had to handle to make the show run based off that getting taken off of my plate. But with that on my plate, I was stifled. You know what I mean? With everything else, it's that whole thing about spinning plates, which I love. Damien making that. Damien Poitier made that analogy, and I was like, "Holy crap, you're right. It's true. If you want to do entertainment and live like that, it's an old circus act. Spin the plates, and you got to make sure that the important plates always have enough spin and don't fall. But then occasionally, like, see one that's kind of like, ooh, that's like, I don't want that plate to fall, but do you have time to spin it, sort of thing."
Right.
You know what I mean? And look, I'll be real honest. I did not have time to spin the plate of the questionnaire without a video editor, Larry. I didn't, because between I talk to so many people on a daily basis. Like, if I just told you who I'd spoken to just today, like the list of creators that I've communicated with, just to make sure I give you plenty of stuff to edit.
Right.
You know, lovely things and opportunities for where I can send them out to everybody come on a co-host, because we've got a plethora of co-hosts over here. Like I said, you can catch where Vladimir co-hosts with Larry over on the Patreon, and it is sheer chicanery. What do you ever feel that pressure, man? Because I know you work at Lunar, right? I mean, you have your normal day job. You have just trying to live a little. You know, you're writing a number of things, and then you were like, "Yeah, I'll do that." Did you look at all these plates, and do you ever worry?
I do worry, but only in that I've never had this many projects going all at the same time, in all honesty. But that being said, it's never a worry of whether I can get this done or get that done. Like, everything that I've been doing is like truly been like it's been a lot of fun. Like doing everything. You know, I honestly, I wouldn't say I worry. There's times where, like, I'm at work and I'm like, I gotta go home and get this done. But I'm never like, you know. And then whether that thing I need to get done being like, I have to edit this episode, or I have to finish editing this script, or I have to communicate with the publisher on this. I have to, you know, it's always something. But that being said, all of the somethings are things I've always wanted to do.
I feel that, man, because not today, but the 2 days previous, I don't know how I pulled it off successfully. Well, I guess technically I didn't pull it off successfully, since the video recording for some reason didn't work on Ahmed's Quest, but yeah, I had 2 quests and worked 24 hours paid in 2 days. That was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's always an interesting time trying to like make it all work. But like that being said, at the end of the day, if you love the thrill of it, it makes it worth it.
I fully agree, man. Like, and I think that's something that gets lost in modern society to a certain degree based on the fact of how much everything is turned in to a hustle and a bustle to a degree that a lot of people don't even think about the effects all of their hustle and bustle have. And I'm sure the larger your income, the less you think of that to a certain degree, which is unfortunate, but I think it's a society thing. And I think that's reflected in Everyone Goes Up. I got that right?
Nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but up. Look, there's too many books with up and down in them, and I can't keep it straight because I'm going sideways and left and right and up and down and then vertical and horizontal. And I know none of that makes sense and it all relates to one another, but I don't care. Y'all get my point, right? So nowhere to go but up is something that really reflects on that and just the general hustle of society. So you went into where you really came from with the Midwest Manpower, and I mean, me and you've discussed that just between the two of us a little bit more. So I understand that.
And we will get back. We will get back to where we were on that here in a little bit, though. But
Oh, you weren't done with your perspective on that? I derailed it?
no.
Well,
no,
finish
you
that,
gotta
and then
do
we'll
it.
jump to this.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna finish where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I don't think that I have told you before. Is where I was going with it. So I was kind of trying to like get to the root of what the emotional through line of that story was. And it took me a minute until I was like, well, every time you write something, you want to insert a little bit of yourself. You want to insert your personal life experiences. They always talk about write what you know, but it's not just like if you know a lot about sea turtles, write about sea turtles. It's like if you have been through something and you know how to write a character going through something to that extent, like write that story. And what I decided to do was because we haven't really talked about it a whole lot here, but I used to be a musician. I was in a punk band called Neon Straitjackets for 4 years. Those songs are still up on streaming if you feel like indulging and earning a couple pennies on Spotify.
It's not pennies, it's fractions of pennies. I too make music, and you can find the unknown factor, Killa Factor, Zay, as well as a number of other things where I've made music, and I know what all those percentages are. And the fact that I have over 1 million plays and have not made at least $1,000 annoys me, but that's besides the point. Go ahead.
So what I did was I was like, okay, I went through a lot of hardships and I found out a lot about myself, like through doing music. I kind of figured out, like, it's funny. I'm 25 years old now, and
you figured out nothing. Nothing, Larry.
Right.
You have figured out nothing. You are 25. You know nothing, sir. All right, Jon Snow.
When I started the band when I was 21, though, I was like, that's officially when the training wheels are completely taken off in your adult life. And if you commit a crime, it's not cute anymore. So essentially when I was going through all of that, like dealing with other band members, dealing with other musicians, having musicians that for some reason hate you and only want to see you fail. I was like, well, what if I applied that to like superhero stuff? Like, I feel like if I were to take the story of what it was like being a musician and literally replace it with the word superhero, it's like, what was that? Because my whole thing is I grew up in a very musical family. My grandmother was a musician. My mother was a musician, and my grandma passed away back in 2021. And when she passed away, I had always known I wanted to do music, but she died, and the family, you know, like we're going through stuff, figuring out who wants this, who wants that. My aunt gets a hold of me and asks me, like, hey, I know you're into music and stuff. Like, would you like her old PA system and her old instruments? And that made me go, weirdly for me, it felt like a passing of the torch moment. It was a weird, like, you know, I lived my life, like, or she lived her life happily performing music, things like that. And then, like, the opportunity to do that was being handed to me. And then so I ran with the music stick in the family rat race for 4 years. And so it was like, well, what if I did that as like a superhero story? And the thing of it is, it's like, so when people read Midwest Man of Power and we follow Maxwell Allen Nair being handed his superpowers from his previously superhero grandmother,
Real quick,
real
quick for everyone out there, you got a release date on that? When's that book hitting shelves?
Right, that is something that I am not allowed to talk about. Only that it is definitely happening early next year. And it is through Antarctic Press. And I'm going to get the word out as much as I can, but anybody that wants to, like, check it out, like, you'll be able to pre-order it through your comic shops, put it on your pull list, get on the League of Comic Geeks app, get it on there, you know, like, get that copy marked down, you know what I mean? So it will be available. We just don't have a specific release date yet.
Fine, Larry, I'll put it on my pull list. Jesus.
But yeah, no, so that's kind of where it all came from. And so while it is a superhero book, like, you look at it and it's a superhero book, there's action, you have your supervillains, you have things going on in it. You know, it's really, the emotional through line is about this 21-year-old kid that was handed a sense of direction in life. Like, he was handed this sense of direction that he's like, well, I didn't know what I was doing before, but I guess if she gave me her power, it's like my destiny to not let her down. And, like, questioning that. And something I will say, though, is you're just getting the first issue of this story is going to be in Exicitng Comics. And if everybody really wants to check that out, and they really dig it, and you have really nice things to say about it, maybe, just maybe, there are more issues in the pipeline, maybe even more issues than you're asking for. But there are more issues in the pipeline that I would gladly love to tell you guys this story. And if you guys end up digging it, please just scream at the rooftops about it. That's all I gotta say.
All I got to say to that is Larry's kind of like Guy Ritchie. He's got lock, stock, but it's way more than 2 smoking barrels.
I do. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you know.
It's good stuff, man.
And it's interesting that you say that, Larry. That makes me look at that comic in a whole different perspective. Because I started doing hip-hop when I was 32. And I've read my whole life. I'm autistic, so I'm really good at patterns. And I started doing hip-hop when I was 32. And I started off in the Juggalo scene because I'm in the Midwest with a bunch of Juggalo rappers. I don't care if I make them mad, just to be clear. That's why I say Juggalo rappers, because I don't care. And with me, it was literally, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Larry. I started doing hip-hop because I went to my ex, was like, let's go see Boondocks. And I was like, all right. So we went to the Emerson, seen Boondocks, and I watched all the openers. And I used to be like, I don't want to tell this story. It's going to make somebody mad. And then my brother DKB, who's the other half of Killa Factor, was like, no, dude, that is the most hip-hop reason to ever start hip-hop. So I was like, all right, I take this as a proud moment now. I watched all the openers, and I go, these guys all suck. And I could wreck them all. And I said that not having done anything like rapping or hip hop wise since I was like in my early 20s, just chilling with a couple of my homies getting drunk in front of an old computer, just, rambling off into a mic, random insanity, But I literally went to this show, seeing all the local openers in Indy, and was like, these guys suck. These guys really suck. And that's why I started hip hop. And quickly went through a story of couple guys being like, hey, you're really dope, let me take you under your wing. And then they got really mad at me because, not to sound egotistical, and I'm not trying to, because I associate with individuals music-wise that are better with me in different aspects, and I'm better with them in different aspects, you know what I mean? But several of the people that initially tried to take me under their wing, yeah, I was just better than them. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm not trying to, like, blow my ego or, ooh, I'm awesome. Like, no, I'm not Eminem. Like, I ain't got that kind of skill as far as flipping words. I like to think I can tell a heck of a story in a rhyme, though. But in that, and I made a lot of people mad, Larry. Like, about getting jumped in a bar, whole altercation with a dude that I was supposed to be farming with in his basement, this, that, and like, so it makes me think, like, if you told that whole story from a superhero aspect, that's interesting, because then you have the superheroes mad at a new superhero that came up, and they're like, why are you saving everybody better than us? Which is hilarious. Right? So that's just where I think, I mean, I know your story in that aspect as far as you taking that is different to pass the torch. But that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, like, because really at the end of the day, superhero stories, they all kind of stem from like a real world place. It's with Batman, it's like taking that tragedy and turning it into something good. With Spider-Man, it's a responsibility tale. It's a bedtime you can tell your stories, like to like your kids, and be like, hey, and this is how he learned that. I don't know if you want to tell your kids about like their uncle being murdered and stuff, but it's just the idea they're morality tales.
I don't know. I'd plan to start reading Ultimate Spider-Man to my 6-year-old son after we finish Bone, which we're currently on the 8th volume of. And I mean, Bone's got some heavier concepts in it, and he's really truly enjoyed it.
Right. But I'm just saying, they're all morality tales. It's everybody can pull. People can look at Batman. People can look at Spider-Man. People can look at like Captain America. People can look at these characters and they can go, there's like, even though I'm not a super soldier or I'm not like a billionaire who can dress like a bat, I pull something from these people.
Why does no one ever say this one?
I think because Deadpool, there's comic book Deadpool, and then there's the Deadpool that everybody else thinks of. And so I feel like Deadpool doesn't immediately come to mind for the people that aren't like reading the books. You know what I mean?
Fair.
In terms of like moral,
or like how he was with his kid and all of that, or like, I mean, there's so
right.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I bet you if you walked up to like a normie on the street and was like, "Hey, what do you know about Deadpool's kid?" They'd go, "Deadpool as a kid? Really? That sounds irresponsible."
Oh, look, no, man. I've come like when I'm out walking about and I see somebody in Deadpool gear, which happens like a crazy amount to me. Honestly, as someone that's been a fan of Deadpool since they started his first ongoing series, I remember picking up that issue, and I was aware of him and other things, but like, and I didn't have the first 2 miniseries though. I did in like, I never was able to pick them up in entirety. But I remember starting, and that was early 90s. You know what I mean? And I've read him all the way through there. Like, I know when I approach someone in public and they have a Deadpool shirt, and I'm like, hey, man, that's sweet. And they're like, yeah, I love Deadpool. I was like, you reading the comics or just the movies? And I'm not saying that, I want to point out, with judgment. I'm just saying that to where, like, hey, man, I've read most of Deadpool's stuff. If not, like I'd say probably 75% of the stuff Deadpool's been in, I've read it. So if I'm gonna have that conversation with somebody because they have Deadpool here, and I want to know, like, hey, dude, what level can I take this conversation? Like, are you a fan of Ryan Reynolds' work and what he's done with the character? I am too. I want to make that clear. I love what Ryan Reynolds has been able to take that character and do, because I think there are subtleties within those films that people who are fans of the comic would pick up on that people who are just watching the film never would. You know, and I think that's phenomenal. So it's just gauging that moment. You know?
Right. And yeah, but just like because of that is why he's not mentioned. Like, you know, because like, you know, you see movie Deadpool and it's like
haters. It's haters, Larry. It's just a bunch of haters.
Right.
That's all
But,
it
like,
is, man. My boy don't
to
get
get
no
to my
respect.
point, yeah, just like to get to my point of what I'm saying though is that really if somebody's like, I don't know what to write, or like what's my emotional through line, never be afraid to look inside yourself. Never be afraid to look at your literal personal life experiences and like you can tell your story if you want to tell your story. You know what I mean?
I feel like
That's
you're
the
telling
beauty.
me to. I feel like you're telling me to get off of this quest and go finish writing what I'm writing. And it's a very personal, really screwy story.
I mean, why not? You know?
Look, I'm working on it, Larry, but sometimes my brain just needs to relax too. Okay, I'm probably like, I know I do need to finish it because it's funny. So I think I'm like 8 to 10 pages in at this point, and there are a couple individuals that have seen the script, and I already know exactly what the last page is going to be, and I'd like to think the last page is. It's a page that if you haven't figured it out by the time you get to it, it is gonna punch you in the gut and the face and the throat all at the same time. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my intent, and not like emotionally, not like on a guttural level. You know what I mean? Not like physically.
Right.
I'm not encouraging violence. There's enough. All right, be a good guy. There's too many bad guys out there already. Just like Garth Ennis said in Preacher. So, how do you make sure you have that morality in your comics when you're writing? How do you make sure you don't cross a line too far in your own? Because I mean, some writers don't have a line. Some writers do absurd things. Some writers cross lines but put morality under them. I think Doug Wagner is the greatest recent example. I mean, Tim Seeley's great with that as well. I've seen Tony do some of it. I think McFarlane definitely did a good portion of it. Tinian does things that definitely, until you read the whole story, they seem kind of questionable.
Right. I think with me personally, having this like emotional moral center of the story, knowing that Midwest Man of Power is about this like really at the end of the day, like it is a superhero book. You know, there's very fun action in it, and with a lot of these stories that I have ready to go, were I given the thumbs up to do it, it's very much just about a kid who wants to he wants to know what he's doing with his life, and he's also grieving. He's dealing with the death of his grandmother that he was very close with. And so there's a lot of messed up things. There's a lot of messed up things this character is going to have to deal with. Not necessarily pulling those things from my life, because while my personal experiences without the ball rolling on this story, there's a lot of things that happen moving forward that are like, let's just say moving forward, one of the other themes was going to be about breaking the cycle of generational trauma in a family. Was very much going to be one of those themes. And so because of that, while issue 1 is going to come off as very fun. You good?
I just had to sneeze, man. You ain't gonna say bless you? Like, or bless me?
Bless you.
Like, jeez, a Pete. That was a cough. There is no blessing for that.
That's fine.
Get some NyQuil or Dayquil. Cough medicine.
You know what?
Know, man.
You know what, Jay? I didn't want it anyway. But anyways, so there are some lines that we cross, and once those lines are crossed, people, I don't know, I have to be so vague with how I talk about it. But that being said, this particular story, Midwest Man of Power, is definitely going to go to some very dark places that I don't think people are expecting, especially for this slightly comedic, almost slice of life superhero book that I've written. You
But
know what I mean?
I think they're going to be phenomenal, man. I mean, I can think of, the one instance I can think of where someone pulled that off in a superhero world, and it was a real holy shit moment. Yeah, you edit that. Uh, now I'm just messing with you, Larry. Don't make me. I've been contemplating just getting real unedited, like how we just chat when we're just chatting just to mess with you. But I'm like, I don't feel like that many beeps, right?
We need to restart this whole commercial because people could probably hear Pokemon in the background.
Please check out this amazing promotion that we have prepared with the questionnaire.
I'm the Unknown Factor. This right here is the obscure fragment.
Are watching this show
Yeah, I'll do editing.
with the questionnaire.
So we've edited this awesome commercial together, y'all.
90% off.
We are not giving 90% off.
No, I mean 9.
How about 20?
The only thing that you have to do is enter that code that you have right there.
9.
No, 20.
10.
How about 20?
I'm printing your comics today with Studio Comics Press.
Just use this code right here, right here, right here. Look, I put it somewhere. All right, it's probably actually right here, right here, right. It's right under your chin. It says Quest 24.
That code you gotta enter in our website, and then you will get a women discount of 20% in any of the items or products that we have on the website.
9.
20.
9.
20%.
9.
All right.
9.
He wants to give you 9% off. I, as well as Alfonso over there on Studio Comics, want to give you 20% off.
You can get it right there with this amazing code. Just enter it right here. Yeah, just right there. There.
Use that code over at Studio Comics to get 20% off.
Thank you very much. This is a special one for all our friends of the questionnaire.
Type in Quest 24 when you check out, man. You can figure out the percentage you'll get right then because it'll show in your order.
Yeah,
right?
9% off.
It's 20%.
The Questionnaire, the best current comic book podcast existing around.
So happy to have Studio Comics as our very, very first sponsor. Say Studio Comics!
Studio Comics!
Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and do all the stuff that you have to do.
I'm the Unknown Factor with the questionnaire. Make sure you check it out.
I just don't feel like that. I feel like that's an excessive amount of beeps in an episode. Like, I can make it to where half this episode is beeps. Man, I lost my point. Rambling. I hate when I do that. Oh, there you go. See, it came back to me because it's Invincible, right? Where you're reading or watching the first episode or reading that first bit, you know what I mean? Whatever it was. And you're like, oh, this is a pretty standard superhero. Why did he just kill the whole Justice League equivalent? You know what I mean? Of this world. Like, he just literally, like, and there's part of me, like, look, I love that scene in the TV show. I don't know why. But him showing up and suddenly just, like, it's like, it makes you realize, and I don't know if your comic's going to have a moment like this, where people can present themselves in a very different way than what they truly are. I might relate to that based on what's happened to me personally recently, but that's neither here nor there. So I think doing things like that in a superhero story, especially nowadays, are what sets you apart from the big two. Because, I mean, if you want a superhero story, you've got them all day, every way, from the big two in every capacity, unless you're going to cross lines, you know?
Right. And like, that's kind of my thing about it, because some of the how do I want to put it? The particular thing that I am subtextually saying in the story that I want to tell is something that I don't know has been explored, or at least hasn't been explored quite in the way that I am thinking that I have explored it. It's just I just really want people to be able to read this and go like, this is a really weird thing to say, but like I seriously feel like if life has ever kicked you in the balls repeatedly, this might be a book for you.
Right there. I'm going to flip this on its head and watch how I do it, right? Because you said that most people that had read the 2 books that I just recently did were affected more by Midwest Man of Power.
Right.
No, man, there's nowhere to go but up.
Right.
There's nowhere to go but up. So let me ask you prospectively, why do you think it is that people are in more similar or more affected by the Midwest Man of Power? Is it because you like, and also, what are you drawing from to write the story you are in Nowhere But Up? Because look, man, like it's I understand, like Kill Train by Olivia Briggs. It's wonderful. We're gonna have her coming up here real soon again, or you can check out her past quest. You should definitely check out Kill Train. It is a lovely story, especially if you've been through a situation where you suddenly became a single parent. It's a different way, and you like a little blood and guts, because oh my gosh, there's some blood and guts in that, dude. Right? So with Midwest Men of Power, I see where you're coming from your personal experience. What do you draw on to write Nowhere to Go But Up? Because look, man, you're 25. You ain't got no kids. You ain't dealt with that as far as I can tell. What's going on here?
Well, okay. Let me kind of tell you about. So, in my junior year of high school, I had this science teacher that he would always open the class with some sort of discussion or something like that. He was reading these articles. Mind you, this is like 2016, 2017. So like what's happening in the book that I ended up writing, funny enough, is more relevant to things that are talked about today than like even just a few years ago when this initial conversation was had. But essentially he was like, there are scientists that think that they can terraform Mars to be able to have inhabitable life on it. And that kind of snowballed into this discussion of like, what would life on Mars be? Like, what happens to the idea of countries? What happens to the idea of borders? There's no definitive oceans to separate people. This is all entirely new territory. What's going on up there? And a lot of that particular stuff is going to be explored later. I will just say it like that. But in Nowhere to Go But Up,
You see
what
this?
I decided to do
No,
is
you see this? You see this right here? I'm gonna beat you with it, Larry, based on the first 2 issues I read and what you just said. Like right here. Because like in what you just said, you're gonna keep this heavily character based, I would hope.
yes.
Okay, I'll put it back on. Never mind.
Okay. So essentially, you have to think of it like this: when you get like a big broad concept of a discussion like that, you're like, yeah, like we can like move to Mars, and like what does that do to society? What does that do to the idea of government? What does that do to the idea of what? Is like the entire Coca-Cola Corporation just gonna pick up their factory and move it up there? Like what is that? So, but the thing is, you're shipping everything to Mars. So what are you leaving behind? If you're starting an entirely new society, life, government, everything, if you're just going to start from scratch and hope it goes better this time, what are you leaving behind to make that process easier? And that's where we get into, well, they leave behind all the convicts and criminals. They don't want to take any chances.
The
And even
politician
then,
too? Oh wait, I'm sorry.
well, Nowhere to Go But Up Part 2, which is out today on Global Comics, you can see what happens to somebody who might be involved with the government that gets left behind. But that being said, so you think of that, it's like, okay, so they would leave the prisoners behind. And then it's like, Well, then where's the drama in that? Are we just gonna watch a bunch of bad people exist on Earth while everybody left them? And and like, what does that do to the people who stay there? Like, imagine you're a man who was put in prison for doing something horrible. You're actually reforming, turning your life around. You start reading a Bible, you find God, and the moment they tell you you can go, it's like, well, actually, all your priests and your families and everybody left you behind because you're not good enough. Does that person just accept the fact that they are paying a penance for the thing that they did? Or does that immediately make them go insane? These years of reform and these years of trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I make peace with whatever is inside of myself that makes me want to do these horrible things? What does that do to that guy? Does he immediately snap and go, nothing matters anymore?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know, man. Look, if you see, now you got me thinking on a whole theoretical level as far as in that discussion, because if you do that and you just leave the worst of the worst behind, and I mean, when I say the worst of the worst, I guess I don't mean you just leave the worst behind, not the worst of the worst, but just the worst, because you're not just leaving the worst of the worst, you're just leaving the worst. You're leaving them all, like,
or you're leaving behind what the government deems is the
okay,
worst.
yeah, and that's I meant that by societal and government standards.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying, Larry, because you're right. I just didn't mean that as far as like all those people are bad, even though some of those people are really bad and they deserve way worse, right? And that's all I'm saying. Um, you know, like there's a look. I'll put it like this. I read a monster at the end of this book. Some of those people deserve a real monster, not Grover. You know what I mean? So. But with that, if you just left that, I don't know, man. I feel like that could go a lot of ways because, look, if you go into to prison and they ask for your papers, and your papers say certain things, you're not gonna have fun. I mean, not that you're gonna have fun, period. But you're really, 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 really not gonna have fun in prison. So they're showing that even those people, they have a morality, and it's like, and I guarantee if it was a situation where the worst of the worst, I think a lot of them would end up as in very shallow graves because who would have time to dig a deep one in that situation unless they could get the like the heavy machinery digging and all that work, and then there might just be like mass graves of the worst of the worst. What was on their paper? Oh, they go in the hole, you know. And they can monitor themselves like that, but at the same time, man, anytime you get a bunch of humans together, it always becomes a power struggle. I've never, historically, it's never happened to where that's not what it is. And if you left those people, you would probably have a Negan situation at some point.
Right, exactly. And so to get to speed back up to the exact question that you asked, the thing that I pulled from is in that entire scenario that we were just talking about. What if you were wrongfully convicted and you were never supposed to be in prison in the first place?
Then y'all should really go read issue 2. And I can't tell you how annoyed I am at Larry for the fact that I can't read issue 3.
I'm very sorry.
Like I am adamantly annoyed at him because I read it, and it's the fact of I'm gonna delve into I'm gonna give a couple spoilers for issue 1. They're not gonna be heavy ones, but just the fact of he was wrongfully convicted, and when it was sent off, they sent off his daughter, and
Right.
I'm a single parent. It's me and my boy. We really need to. He keeps saying he wants to do a review show, but then there's like so much else and this and that and other stuff we're doing. We really need to review Bone because he's absolutely been loving it. I can understand. It's like, oh no, I will do whatever I have to get to my kid. What made you put that underlying note in there? I guess that's the part of the story that I see, and I see you writing it from a perspective where I'm like, I feel like it's pretty on point. You know what I mean? And like I said, I say that from recent past events and things that I personally did. Like, I understand the depth that you would go to. Like, what do you reach to specifically when you're writing that character?
Well, weirdly enough, while I have yet to be a parent myself, something that I will say is I can sit here and understand what that feels like, not because I've experienced it, but because I've been on the receiving end of it. You know, I've, like, really, really, I'm writing the way that I know my dad would be if I was ever taken away like that. Being being a kid that was in a family, that had to deal with the parents divorcing when I was only 13. I was being on the receiving end of that, and to not get too much into it, I can honestly say that I'll give you a better example. I'll give you a better example that won't be naming names. When I was 18 years old, I moved like an hour and a half away from my home. And I was living out on my own. I had my own apartment. Everything was going good. But I had this car that was like a death machine. Okay, I was living in Bowling Green, Ohio at the time, and my dad lived all the way in Scott, Ohio, about an hour and a half difference. At 2 a.m, my death machine of a car broke down on the side of I-75.
Wait. Why was the car a death machine?
It was the serpentine belt would just like to pop off. It would turn off in the middle of me driving, overheat even though it's got coolant in it, all sorts of problems. Tire would blow up on it, millions of things. At that particular moment in time, the engine gave out because of a coolant problem. But essentially, I'm stuck on the side of the I-75, 2 a.m, hour and a half away from anybody I know that could even come to help me. I called my dad, and he was there in an hour and a half. And he not only came to get me, not only helped me get my car off the road and get it up and running long enough for me to get it back to my place. He also, because it was December, it was middle of winter, he took me to the closest place to get something to eat, made sure I was fed, and then helped get me back to my apartment. And so that being said, being on the receiving end of that, that's kind of where that comes from.
Okay.
It's a father's love for their child.
That's dope. And I'm going to say it like this, right? If you and your girl ever have a kid, okay? All right.
This is an ongoing thing between him and I.
It is. That's right. And will forever, but it comes out of a place of, like, it comes out of a lot of different places. In all honesty, that sincere sentiment, but it's also like out of love, Blair. Like, that's the first place. There's a couple other places that it comes from, but we won't get into. Okay, I like to keep that part back here, right? And I let it out. I let that part out more when I'm like doing the hip hop thing because it's acceptable over there.
But yeah, no, that's where it comes from, though. That's definitely where it comes from. Like the amount of, I don't know.
No, dude, I feel you. That's dope. That's absolutely dope, dude. It's funny. It just look, hey, we ain't gonna get in it. It got real personal over here, Larry. Isn't it funny? I want you to think right now, at this moment, on that quest on the PanCon. Which y'all can go pay $2 a month, right, to jump on the PanCon. And then we actually got a website set up, getting set up. Shout out to Chrissy Wiseman, right? And actually, we're gonna make that part of the exclusive on the website, where if you become a member on the website, you can also just check it there. That's what we're planning to do. But I don't know exactly how long that's gonna take, but we're gonna get it done, right? And that might be the first exclusive thing I put on the website because it's bloody hilarious. But think about that compared to this quest, man. If those aren't bloody different, I don't know what is, Lair. Like, come on, that's all I'm saying. This is like that was sheer chicanery. This is like I got kind of personal. I love it. I love it. But I'm just gonna say, if y'all want like to see some tomfoolery, yeah, man, I'm just gonna make you edit things at this point. See, because I knew it would cause that look, y'all. You can't tell me that wasn't hilarious. Like you don't even know what else I got planned. Uh, it's bad, there. It's bad. It's bad. So, how far do you have that planned out, issue wise? Do you have a like? Is there a like? Do you got it to where it's like, okay, that's its end? And how are you? Yeah, like I'm gonna jump back to something else after I ask this question. Yeah, but like, because I feel like that's a story. Or, just because I feel like that's a story though. Like when I'm reading it, I expect an ending, Larry.
Yes, you will get an ending, and I will tell you, because with Emerald Valley, the agreement that we have, we're doing 3 8-page stories for them. I have one more 8-page story that I'm doing for Emerald Valley. And then if anything happens beyond that point, it's because everybody else made it happen. Let's just say it like that. But that being said, I do have an ending in mind for what I'm doing here. And just to get into the specifics, in case anybody's watching this and they're like, who the like, what's going on there?
You just caused yourself an editing problem.
Well, hey, you do it, I do it. Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, really?
So, well, I mean, let's be real. I'm not gonna sit here and call you like, you freaking pee butthole. Like, I'm not gonna call you any of that.
No, you want to know my favorite new insult? Because I think it's you're gonna have to blank this shit out. I guarantee it. But yeah, did you hear that one? Do you get the context of how rude that particular insult is?
Right.
Like it implies like 6 different things about you as a person, and if you really, like, it really does. It's rude, man. And then there are people out there that are like, "What did he just say?" And because I don't think I've ever heard that.
Right, I actually think that's the
it's brutal, and it's brutal, dude. And, like, I don't remember where I came up. Like, it was sudden, and then I was like, "Oh, it's genius! That is an insult on like 6 levels that would like infuriate and make the person think all at the same time." And I love it. Yeah. Now let's stop causing you editing problems. What were we talking about?
Yeah. Right. So, I was just gonna let everybody know here, because we haven't gotten into the specifics of something that's actually very important. Nowhere to Go But Up. It is on Global Comics for free. You can read it at any time, and it is part of an anthology through Emerald Valley Entertainment called Emerald Valley Presents. You can look it up. We are in issues 2, and as of the day that this video drops, we are in issue 3. And then when we get around to doing issue 4 and have 2 other great creative teams to jump in with us to do other short stories that accompany us, we will be in issue 4.
Well, you know what I got to say specifically to you, good sir, is when you upload this particular episode to the YouTube, and before I go and add everything I add, you go issue 1, link, issue 2, link, and then I'll add everything else in the description afterwards. That way, right down in the description, folks, right there, all you gotta do is scroll down a little. You scroll down a little, you click one, you can read issue 1. You click the other, you can read issue 2. And I mean, I would highly recommend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is that what you meant when you said everyone else? As far as just more people read it, you'll get more.
Well, yeah. So okay. Here's the thing: we're in this anthology, and we only take up 8 pages of real estate. There are 2 other 8-page stories from 2 other great creative teams in every issue that we are also featured in, that you could check out their work as well. As a matter of fact, Matias Julio, who is the letterer for Nowhere to Go But Up, part of Emerald Valley Presents, he is also the writer of the second story that's featured in issue 2 of Emerald Valley Presents. We got his artist Zebo does like a wonderful job. Does really awesome psychedelic artwork. We're doing a lot of sci-fi stories. I don't know if that was intentionally planned by everybody because we were all contacted separately. But if you just want to read 3 awesome sci-fi stories in a single digital comic book for free,
And
there you go.
I just don't like reading digital, Blair. I really don't. I'm old, man. All right, leave me alone. 25-year-old, right? I about said some things you had to edit, but I decided to just mumble like an old man instead.
Well, you know what? I have a solution for you, good sir. I am peddling wares, if you will. So, actually, funny enough, as of the day of this recording, when this drops, November 14th, if you want to get a hold of me, I can get you a physical print copy of our short story, Nowhere to Go But Up Part 1. And I do plan to do printings for Part 2 and Part 3. I will have copies. They're only $3 each. Whoever wants to get a hold of me will be able to get their hands on it and get some of the behind the scenes on it as well.
All right. And wait. Well, you got a signing coming up.
Yes, I do. On the day that this drops, so it would be almost useless.
Oh no. Well, we can do that, but we'll do that at the end. And don't worry about it, man. You hear me? I gotta tell.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Look, dog, dude, I'm gonna make you start editing TikToks. I swear, you said you love editing, right? And I swear, did you notice? Have you ever looked at the? I'm curious, man. Let's just cut to a whole different bit. Cause I realized. Look, man, did you ever have any schooling in video editing, or did you just start doing the crap?
I did have schooling in video editing, yes.
Okay. I just started doing it, all right? No one told me anything. I was just I'd been shown a little bit of things in Audacity and this and that by my brother DKB and a couple other people. They showed me very minor things. DKB showed me way more, and is the reason I was able to edit audio at the rate that I was. And when I started video editing, I was just like, I'm just gonna do it, all right? Nobody told me nothing, man. I mean, I watched a couple
I'm gonna
videos.
let you in on a trade secret. My teacher that taught the video editing also told me nothing.
Really?
I'm gonna be real, dude. Out of every class I ever had in high school, that video editing class was my least favorite. She didn't even have her teaching license yet. And she was literally just having us work out of a textbook. And when I ended up winning a regional award for the Business Professionals of America that year for video editing, I had to put together an ad for the BPA. And she was almost surprised when I got the ad because we hadn't even covered video editing yet in the class that I'd won the award for.
So you're saying literally she taught you did you ever get on a computer and work with her with this class?
Anybody that might be listening to this that I went to school with would be able to tell you, especially Vantage Career Center, if anybody would be able to tell you anything, it is that particular teacher that we had was not very good.
So you pretty much are self-taught in video editing. Okay, well in that then
I'm pretty much so I wasn't gonna lie and say I didn't go to school for it because I did.
Okay, well that's fine, man. You read from a textbook. I watched a couple YouTube videos. There was definitely a difference in learning curve because I would assume that textbook at least helped you a little bit with certain things.
Man, isn't that horrible? You gotta watch the videos to make the videos.
Look, man, I hardly watched anything. I more than anything just click around. Are you serious? Right? I ain't got time to watch videos. I'll figure it out. If I can find a thing to read really quickly to figure out exactly what that is, it annoys me sometimes, in all sincerity, that there's not just a document I can read to tell me exactly what I'm trying to do, as opposed to having to watch some person online do it. Look, if I want to sit and consume entertainment, I either want it to be yo, they put some cash into this and some serious time, or I'll listen to some dope conversations, whatever. But I do not, no, I do not want to watch people show me how. I'm really bad, dude. I'm about, like, I don't. That's why I was terrible in high school. It's a really funny story. Like, I'm like, when I was having teachers, dude, I was doing bad. And then I ended up going to alternative school like the last bit of my senior year. And it was just like, read the book, take the test. I started making A's and B's.
I'm not kidding, Jay. That's exactly what happened to me. I'm not kidding.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding. That's what happened. I was in high school, normal high school, my freshman, sophomore year. And then my junior year, I was in the video editing, like the vocational school. And then my last senior year, they were like, well, you can't keep going to the vocational school because you're missing like half a health credit. So we're going to need you to come back to your home school. And I was like, no, send me literally anywhere else but there. Because I didn't get along with any of the kids that I went to normal high school with, really.
Man.
And so they shipped me off to the alternative school. And I was doing so good in that school. It was to the point of where the teachers were like, why are you here?
Yeah.
And I was like, because the state requires me. And they went, no, why are you here? Great, we're broken.
No, dude. Dude, it's look. Life is intriguing, y'all.
Yes, it is.
And everyone should read The Art of War. Even though The Art of War that's publicly available is not the real art of war. I know this because I have a friend of mine who went to war, and you get to read the true art of war when you have a redacted document like that is about you on the government standards. But it's just it's an odd thing, Larry. It's an
What does that have to do with me going to a credit recovery school?
as far as the why everybody should do that, as far as the art of war and what is different.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that have to do with that, Larry? To show people the difference in balance and the fact of we have said everyone must learn one way when really some people learn so much better in entirely different manners. And the fact that we as a society refuse to really focus on that, it quells so much from great creativity to great ingenuity.
Yeah.
That's what it means. You didn't catch how that ring around, whatever. You know what? Go back and listen to it and figure it out. How about that? That's what I got to say. If you don't understand that, that's what I got to say about that. Larry, don't tell me.
The thing of it is, I personally, and even when it comes to art and writing and comics, personally, I don't feel that there's any one specific way. There's no one specific way.
No, there's not. But that's what I mean as far. Look, man, you got me like, how does that fit? It fits, Larry, because you should read The Art of War. You should read it with the understanding that even the truth of that is being kept away from you. What Sun Tzu actually wrote is being kept away from you. And there are so many things within society that is the case. There's the but you have to approach anything you're doing as far as entertainment with that knowledge in mind.
Right. Exactly.
And in all honesty, because man, look, I ain't saying that on the show. All right. I guess that's what it boils down to. You know, Mark Bagley did this same crap to me at some point, and it made something pop up in my head. And I was like, I'm not going into it, just based on the stories he was telling. And I love Mark, man. I cannot wait to have the conversation we're about to here in a little while about the history, evolution, de-evolution of the comic books or miniseries and crossovers with a plethora of individuals. And you've done the same thing because it's a... Look, I'll tell you after the show, Larry, exactly what I mean, because I'm not getting into it. Because you know what, ladies and gentlemen, some things are just honestly personal in my opinion, and that's what it is, and there's a reason I'm the unknown factor. And beyond that, right? So you got that plant. I know you've got a good deal for Midwest Man of Power. How many issues you would say for Nowhere to Go But Up total? Do you have a thought, like when you look at that, do you have a number that you're like, if I reach this number, I can wrap the story up? That's what's necessary.
I don't. I know what story I'm going to tell. The 3-part story that we are getting in Emerald Valley Presents has a very much a beginning, middle, and end. And that is about 1 issue worth of content. Like, that is altogether 24 pages of comic. And I want people to realize that. It is only 1 issue of story with everything that we have covered so far, and then we're waiting on part 3. That's what's there. But you have to think, with all of the things that I was saying earlier in describing where the idea for this story came from, you have to know that there is more than 1 issue worth of stuff there for me to talk
about. And that's honestly my, like, because I've read the first and second part, which I'm, like I told you, I mean, you've seen the message you got from me when I was done with part 2. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like my instant message was, give me part 3. Well, actually, let's be honest about this. Here's the sequence of events that happened. All right, Larry sent me the Midwest Men of Power and the Nowhere to Go But Up. He sent it to him to where I could read just part 1, and I read part 1 first. And before I moved on, I sent him a message, and it said, "Send me part 2 now." Like, it wasn't even, and I wouldn't, like it, like, I do that to you out of love, I want to point out, and also because I knew it would help me go more into what we're trying to do here, because y'all really need to check it out. And then I read that, and then I was like, now you're going to tell me there's not part 3 ready, aren't you? Isn't that what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I was annoyed that it wasn't readily available, which is kind of funny. And then I went and read Midwest Man of Power. And looking at Everywhere Goes But Up, man, it's a story that I honestly feel like you could run for a while if you wanted. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, you could run it like a good 24-issue arc on that. I would say.
Maybe.
Maybe. I would say that's the maximum for it. You go beyond that with, I think, with what you've set up, man. I mean, you could set other things up though. Everything has different possibilities. Sometimes you can change main characters. That happens. You know what I mean? That's why I'm curious, because I mean, I could see you wrap it up in 6 at the same time. You're not giving me any information. Whatever. Fine.
Who knows?
Just don't tell me nothing.
The public is gonna have to read part 1, read part 2, and y'all remember how painful it was to wait for Avengers Endgame after Infinity War came out? Y'all remember that painful year you had to wait? Just be thankful I'm not making you wait a year. All right?
Whatever. Well, I highly advocate going reading it, obviously, because I mean, I literally swore at him to send me the next one. Like, I didn't even, like, I love you, Larry. That's funny. I don't think there's a couple other people I would honestly do that to if they like had that, and I read it and I was like, yeah, there's a few other people. I'd be like, send it to me now, right?
I'm really glad that I evoked such a strong reaction, because if everybody checks it out and loves it as much as you do, like, business would be booming. Say it like that.
Yeah. So like I said, there's links in the description because I made Larry put them there. I love it. Hey, no, I'm not going to do that during the show. That would just be rude. But I do kind of wonder. Sorry, I don't know why that randomly popped in my head. So you've got that, though. You've got a sci-fi story. You've got a superhero story. All right? Is there a different genre in your head stewing that you want to do?
Oh, I've got a horror book, 100%.
For some reason, I just knew that. I don't know why, because I half wanted to be like, and is it horror? Because I just felt like it was, right?
Yeah, I've got.
Will you touch
I
on
have
it?
some close.
Just a little tease, Larry. Just be like, give the pitch. Give the pitch that you would give. Like if you were, come on, how about this? If it was done and you were trying to get someone to read it, what would you say?
I would say. How would I put it? Imagine if you had a coked out Jimmy Fallon trying to get you to kill homeless people for money. That's all. That's all I'm going to tell you. Or you know what? No, I'll leave you with this. Monsters are real. The first sentence and then the second sentence. That's all I'm giving you.
All right. Look. That's all I'm giving you. That's all I'm giving you, right? So look, if you've enjoyed this quest with Larry, right? One, go check out, hopefully the website's up. Well, the website ain't gonna, the website, Patreon, it'll be around real soon, right? With some sheer chicanery with Larry, myself, and Vlad, and it was chicanery, right? But beyond that, if you've enjoyed it, what I want you to do is click the links in the description, check it out, right? I don't know if you're watching it at 6. Would you still be doing your signing at 6 o'clock, Larry?
Yes.
So if you're watching it and this come on and you've made it to this point, well, actually, it'd be like 7:30, Larry.
It'd be over by then. We're running the signing from 3 to 7 p.m. At the arcade in Fort Wayne, Indiana, on State Street, November 14th. You buy a copy of the comic, know where to go but up part 1, you get a cookie.
No. So here's what you do, right? If you're close, if you're like 20 minutes away, right? And
if you watch the video at 1.25 speed.
No. So if you watch the whole video, and because that's what I'm talking about, right? I want you to send Larry a message because I gave like some kind of link to some kind of profile of. I mean, you got it. Probably his Instagram, right? And you can literally send him a message and be like, "I just watched this. I'll be there in such and such amount of time. Can you hang around?" Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do you like. Hopefully like 5 people will do that. If you get 5 people to do that, and you had to stay 30 minutes late, you tell me you wouldn't be happy?
Oh, I'd be happy.
All right, see, so
I'm honestly, if you saw me on the street, if you saw me at a grocery store,
harass him.
I would, yeah, please.
You know, it's funny. I wonder if comic book creators, I never thought about this, but that's hilarious. You're an actor or entertainer, like you can't Ryan Reynolds can't go to Kroger, you know what I mean? Like that's just it's bad, right? I wonder if
everything's on board.
I wonder if comic book creators I wonder if there are some that would love to have that level. And I wonder if we made that more common even. Like imagine if people more seen the comic book creators was like, hey, but then I guess you'd like that comic book creator have his book all the time because only certain ones would. You know what I mean? I don't know. How many comic book creators do you think keep comics in the trunk?
I've personally seen it twice.
Twice? Okay, I mean, I know. Wait, like just out and about?
And I'm not either of them.
Well, you should be soon. I'm just saying. I wonder if Scott does. That just makes scary. Whatever. Look,
No, there's a dude. Scott definitely has comics in his trunk.
Yeah, Scott doesn't have comics in his trunk. I'll be bloody well amazed. But I digress. I was trying to wrap the show, and now I'm getting off into a whole different side note. Look, go and click the descriptions, read it, right? Check it out. Go find Larry and bug him and get a copy, right? I mean, you'll mail him, won't you? Will you mail him? You better mail him. You should mail him.
Yeah, I'd mail him.
Yeah, so
Nobody's asked yet.
whatever.
I would mail him.
Whatever, right? I'm serious. Because, man, I'm going to be annoyed if you don't finish that story.
It will get finished.
Yeah, I don't know that, like, so everybody go check it out. I want to read it. That's that's terrible, right? Go check it out, right? If you've enjoyed the interview. And maybe, man, I don't know. I didn't bring up his questionnaire, right? I didn't, right? So I don't have nothing else as far as what I typically would, because we've already done this once. And didn't I do that at the end of the first one?
Barely.
What? With the,
You kind of did. Kinda.
Oh, like you feel like I've hit it better in the past. Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, like, when you tried to do, like, your little wrap-up with all the answers to my questions and stuff, like, I think you got halfway through it, and Vlad and I both went, dude, just stop. There is no order to this episode. Just quit trying. It was that bad, folks. If you want to see it that bad, you want to see what happened, you want to hear the things that were said,
Oh my God.
The deeds that were done. Subscribe to the Patreon. War crimes were committed. All right. Civilizations were slain in our name on that episode.
I will say, out of every quest that I'd be like, yeah, I'll put that out. Right, that one probably goes the farthest that I'd be willing to even consider. Like if it went any farther than what that episode did, I think I'd be like, nah.
Putting my career on the line for
like,
this one.
Like, nah. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that one out there. It's nah, right. So like I said, go pick up his comic, man. Find him, get his comic. That's what you do if you've enjoyed this interview, right? If you haven't enjoyed this interview, what you do is you haunt every episode of the questionnaire to where he has to deal with it. Please don't do that. Like,
you know what?
Seriously? Please don't do that.
Hard.
Huh?
Do it.
No. What? No, man. I'm trying to get to where you can do this so fast you can start making TikToks too. Come on, man. You can't process it. I'm working on it. Look, it's whatever, right?
We gotta cut off you thinking, dude. Just wrap it up.
Motherfucker, don't interrupt me. Did you hear me? I will fuck you up. I literally, you see this? I'm gonna shove it up your ass, alright? Like, I had this in my hand. I was getting ready to, not even in my hand or just chilling, but like, you see, I was holding it like this when you said your BS, getting ready to bring it up.
So what were you doing with that before you started podcasting?
This, why did I actually purchase it?
Did you have it before starting the show? If you say yes, I have questions.
I mean, I think I bought this as a prop, if I remember, or did I? No, yeah, that seems, yeah, because it was the whole like I made it a whole bit. I think, right?
Maybe.
Or was it just my boy? It was either that or Logan was really little. You beep that. Don't, okay? But my son was really little, and he was abused by it.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
It was one or the other. And look, dude, in the past year, I can't remember. But don't fucking interrupt me. You hear me? For everyone out there, check it out. Give it that thumbs up, right? Right? And you know it's that 3 things, right? So you got to get your comic on. Have a good night, y'all.
So much for hopping on board and listening to the questionnaire.
Keep a listen out to these crazy guys.
The questionnaire.
I missed something.
Like and subscribe.
You're drunk. Go home.
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.